Hi, welcome to my channel. If you are walking on eggshells around a particular person, so a specific person that you're wanting to manifest a different relationship with, but you're walking on eggshells with them, and even if you're not having that communication at the moment, you are prepared to do that when they do reach out to you. So what I mean by that is you're not being your true self. So you are holding back slightly in some ways because you are being told that you can't give too much of yourself because of, relationship advice and that sort of thing. So it could be that, can be that you're saying things that you think they want to hear. You are behaving in a way that you wouldn't normally behave in because you're trying to hold on to them. All of these things, whatever they are, whatever you're doing that isn't in line with what you really feel, you're doing it because you're living in fear of losing it. Whenever we're acting in a way that's contrary to how we feel, it's because we are living in fear. Now, it doesn't have to be huge fear, but you have a fear of loss, you have a fear of losing this relationship, and you think by doing all of the right things and saying all of the right things, then you will hold on to them. But I think deep down, your higher self knows that that's not the case, because what will happen is you will lose it eventually, because you're living in fear, and you have that fear going on there. Even if it's really subtle, it will manifest at some point, because it's a fear of it's going to go. And it doesn't matter what you do on the outside, in order to keep that person interested, something will happen and they will either lose interest or they will drop off for some unknown reason. It might be that they suddenly feel like, oh, this is too much for me, I'm having all of these feelings and I don't know what to do with them, and they drop off that way, but you don't know. All you see is they've disappeared. Doesn't always necessarily have to be a negative reason from their perspective. Well, anything is negative, isn't it, when somebody just drops off like that? But that's what's happening, and it's all because of that fear-based energy that you have. So you have to practice being fearless. We all should do this. We all should be comfortable enough to behave as we would normally behave. So how you would behave to, say, a friend, how you're chatting to a friend and behaving with a friend, you're being yourself, aren't you? You're having a laugh, saying what you say, doing what you do, because that is you, and you don't feel the need to behave any differently. And that's how you have to be with a specific person, with a romantic relationship, because you can't sustain a relationship if you're pretending to be something different. Just by holding back, you're pretending to be something different, you're not being yourself. I will tell you what will happen. You will have communication and it will disappear, and you won't know why, and you'll wonder what you've done to offend them. You wonder what you've said and you think, was it this or was it that? To be quite honest, it could have been absolutely nothing. That you won't even be able to pinpoint it in some cases, because it's gone, because energetically you have a fear of losing it. So even though you're not putting yourself out there much with them, and you might be feeling like, oh, I'm doing all the right things, I'm holding back, internally you are still really desperate for this to keep going. So you are pushing at it internally, even though you're trying to do all of the right things. It doesn't really matter what you do on the outside, it's what's going on in the inside. So you could be really enthusiastic, you could be chatting to somebody really enthusiastically, being yourself, being your true authentic self, not worrying about what you say or do, and sort of reaching out to them a lot. And it wouldn't really matter, because if energetically you're not in that really bothered state, then they're still going to come back to you. It doesn't actually matter. You can be really direct, really out there with a person and get it all back if you're feeling it. If you're feeling worth it and feeling you have no issues with not feeling good enough or anything, it probably won't matter how you behave. Because people aren't picking up on what you're doing and stressing out, they're picking up on how you're feeling, but they just don't know that, they don't realise it. So it's all in what you feel and not what you do. So the more you are fearful of losing something, the more likely it is that you're going to lose it at some point. So tell yourself, from today, right, I am going to start being myself. It's going to be tough, and I'm really probably going to be a little bit scared still of that I'm going to lose it this way, and there is a chance that that person will pull away from you for a bit, because your energy will be a bit mixed, and also they won't know what's going on to start with, but they will come back. You have to say to yourself, fearless. You can say, I am fearless, or you can just say fearless. I prefer fearless, as you know, if you've watched any of my videos about affirmations, just that term fearless, and you practice it. So you can practice in little steps. So let's say they say something to you where usually you would answer in a certain way if it was somebody else, but you don't. You go to answer it in the way that isn't authentic, and then you pull yourself back and think, hang on, let's be authentic here. Let's be myself and say what I would really say, and do it. Even if you just do it once in that conversation, and then the other times you aren't being, at least you've done it once, at least you're practicing. That's what you're doing here. So you're exposing yourself in little steps. Do that, and internally say to yourself, fearless. Fearless. And then throughout the next day, say to yourself, fearless, a few times. And then when you have that communication again, do it a couple of times that time. okay? And then sort of keep exposing yourself to it. And when you feel the fear slip in, creep in of they're going to go, then think to yourself this: but if I carried on how I was going, they would have gone anyway. It's pretty much, I don't ever like to say there's guarantees here, but I would say 99.9% chance when you're feeling like that, they're going to go anyway, or it's going to carry on like this and it's never going to get any better. So practice being fearless, and the more you do that, the more yourself you will be, the more your energy will change, the more their energy will change, because it isn't about changing another person, it's about changing you. People behave differently around us depending on how we are. I have told a story before about back in the day. I had this client, and when I just doing the SEO, I was an SEO specialist, and I had worked for another person in her position, but I didn't know that this person was covering maternity leave. And I got really well with her, really liked her, we got on brilliant, had such a laugh, had a really good relationship. And then she suddenly said, "Oh, I'm going." And I said, "Oh, why?" And she said, "Well, because I was just covering maternity and I didn't realise that." So the original employee came back and was then forced to work with me. And immediately I had the feeling like, oh, she might not like me and she's going to be stuck working with me. So it's all me. I brought that on. So I did not have a good working relationship with her. She was actually a bit offhand. She was awkward. She was questioning what I was doing all of the time, even though she didn't know what was involved. So I was getting annoyed, and I was thinking, oh, she just doesn't like me because she's been lumbered with me. And then I suddenly thought, I'm causing this, and I didn't know so much what I was doing then, but I did know a bit about that. And I thought, I think I'm making this worse with how I'm feeling about it. I thought, well, what have I got to lose by saying that things could be different? So I just said to myself, it doesn't have to be like this. We could get on well. We could get on much, much better. And I pride myself really on being able to get on with just about anyone. So it was going against what I actually thought. So I thought, okay, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to start just thinking that she does like me. Just to change it. I didn't really believe it, but I said it to myself, yeah, she does like me. I've just making that up, you know, that old version. I made that up so I can make this up. And so I just said, yeah, she does like me. And then it was a couple of days later, she called up, and I had that initial feeling like, oh, because I didn't want to speak to her. But I thought, no, she likes me, it's cool. And we were chatting, and then for some reason the conversation, we talked about work, and the conversation turned to family. And I don't know how it happened because we'd never spoken about anything personal. And she started talking about something about her kids, and I came back with something and mentioned Harry. And then from that moment on, absolutely fine. We had, I'm not saying we had a wonderful working relationship, but we had a decent working relationship. It was not a problem, and it had changed. It sort of snapped like that in that moment, and we had a different relationship. So all of that other stuff I had brought on by thinking she's going to feel lumbered with me, because I'd been thrown by it and didn't realise that the other girl in question was leaving. It completely threw me, and I immediately just thought, yeah, she's going to feel lumbered with me. That's what I thought. If I look back on it, that is what I thought. And she didn't choose me. She was a very forceful person. She was a force of nature, actually. So she was a little bit like, ooh, you know, and she wasn't the type of person that you could particularly have a laugh with. And I like that kind of working relationship with people. And I think that's how I'd got the job with the lady that was covering the maternity leave, because we immediately hit it off, and she had a really good sense of humour too. And this other person didn't have that kind of sense of humour, but that's all right, isn't it? And I, you know, so I immediately had that feeling, caused that, and then changed it in a heartbeat, really. And then we worked together about a year after that. It was absolutely, it just came to a natural end. They took it all in-house, but it was absolutely fine, not a problem. So I can look at things like that, and if there's something going on with a particular person in me, I can feel it. I can think, yeah, I know what's going on, because it's very tempting to feel that that the relationship issue came first. But it never does. It's always what's going on inside of you. Even if it's just a little thing that kicks it off, and then we allow it to grow, and it just grows within us, that energy grows on the inside, grows on the outside. So just to summarise, you have to expose yourself to, you don't have to expose yourself, but you have to expose yourself to what it is that you're scared of, and you're scared of losing that person. But feeling that fear anyway is going to result in that. So how do you get over that? You become fearless. And I tell you what, once you start doing this, especially when you start doing it with people, you will find that it kind of transforms everything in your life, because you become fearless in general. Because people are the kind of toughest thing, aren't they? Well, they're not really, but we see them as that. So if we can get over that, then we become fearless with absolutely everything. And we adopt this technique, fearless, fearless, fearless. You are fearless. Like I said, you don't have to say I am fearless, just the statement. When it's me, when I do it, I just go fearless. and I needed to do it. When I decided to start a YouTube channel, I thought this might be too tough for me, and I'd always put myself off of doing it in the past because of the fact that, you know, I don't get many negative comments, I don't get many horrible comments, but you do get the odd few, and they just washed completely over me. I couldn't care less. But a few years ago, a couple of years ago even, I would have cared slightly. A couple of years ago, before that way, I would have probably done this sooner had I been less bothered about what people might say. But the fact is, I don't know anybody, I don't know these people. It doesn't have an impact on my life, what they say about me. I'm not talking about people disagreeing with me. You know, that's absolutely fine. It's good that people have different opinions. I'm talking about people saying something that's actually probably not very nice about me. But really, it just washes over me now. So Fearless is awesome. Fearless will move you forward in life. Fearless will change your life. Right, thanks for watching. I'm an author. My books are listed below. They're all available on Amazon. My latest one, I'm just going to pop up here now for you, all about self-concept. I'm writing another one, a beginner's guide. It's not called a beginner's guide to the law of attraction. I'm not quite sure what the title's going to be at the moment. It's all kind of based around sort of helping people not get through the things that I went through, but not even get to that point, stopping them from going down any rabbit holes, and, you know, making this a far easier process, which is exactly what it should be, and it is if we allow it to be. Okay, thanks for watching, and coaching is available on my website. Zoom coaching, email coaching. I do also offer a one-off email, because that proves to be very, very popular actually, because it's very cost effective and you can pick up a lot of information in that, and I'll give you a plan which will help you move forward. So if you're not looking for a sort of a structured email program, then that one might be really useful to you. Thank you for watching.